YouTube is Goddess C's Journey. And we're doing my regular recap review for
I Met Couples Retreat.
So this week on Couples Retreat, we left off with Chris hanging onto the trapeze, scared to move. So she's really afraid of heights. So she's having a hard time. But Breezy's basically in support of her, and she's telling her, you can do this, basically encouraging her. And everybody is encouraging her, saying her name, and like mostly Breezy. And with that, she finally does it, and then she gets over her fear, and she drops down, and then she starts to cry because, she's afraid of heights, and she was able to face her fear, with the support from Breezy, which she's happy, Then Doug looks so stuffed. He looked like a stuffed sardine in that spandex up there. And he's all stuffed up there, but he did it, and he looked so funny. And everyone basically did great on the exercise, and everybody was able to do it. Even the ones that said they were scared or afraid, they were able to do it. Okay. When Jalen goes up there, I noticed something real interesting, that Fallon was calling his third leg down there Tony, and then the coach was like, my name is Tony though, and I'm just like, okay, seriously, girl. And then Fallon was like, yeah, and it was like his thing was thinging, okay? It was poking, really poking. I was like, okay, Jalen, I see why Fallon has been real thirsty and fiending to do something, because your thing is poking out, honey. Okay. All right. So then he did his thing, and he was done. And then Fallon goes up there, and she's all scared, but she's like, I gotta do it because I finally got me some D last night. So she basically pushed past her fear, though she was very scared. She was like about to cry while she was up there. But she did it. Okay. And she went through it because she got that D. I guess that D gave her the courage to do it. Okay. Next scene is, we still have Tyreek. He had to go. So when he originally climbed up the ladder, he was scared. He was like, I can't do it. I'm scared enough. He is so extra. I don't know how Tiana does it with him, because he is just so extra. So then, AJ talks to him and says, you can do this. Let's try again. So he climbs up the ladder again, and she said, just climb up there. So as soon as he climbs up there, he gonna talk about, no, I can't do it. But then he does it. I said, all that screaming for what? Really? Really, Tyreek? Fat boy? Really? He was doing a little bit too much for me. I know you scared, but come on. All the yelling was a little bit dramatic for me. Like, calm it down, sir. We get you scared and everything, but damn, all the screaming. I can't. Okay. Sounds a little bit like you rehearsing or something, like someone gave you the lines to say, okay? But everybody did well. They conquered their fear during the trapeze class, So then AJ and Tony told them that they're going to have a dinner at Studio 54. The dinner is the disco, basically. So everybody need to be dressed and keeping it all together, looking cute. I said, okay. All right. I want to see some people dressed up because, everybody's been basically pretty chill. They really haven't had that many nights to, chill. They've been doing a lot of, exercises to help them in their relationship. So a lot of them haven't gotten the chance to actually work on it. So the couples basically hang out before the dinner, and then Chris basically was scared, talking about how she was scared to basically be on her own, and that's what AJ was kind of saying. It seems like she feels like she's an extension of Breezy and her are a union. They come together, so anything she does, she feels she has to always do with her, and that she can't do anything alone. But she can't have her own voice. She can't do the exercise on her own. She can't get over things on her own. Everything has to be with Breezy, and that's kind of like codependency. She's very codependent on Breezy, and she doesn't show up or have herself or show herself because she's so codependent and doesn't think that she could be separated from Breezy. That's what it seems like. It's too much codependency there, and she has to let that go because she's her own person. She's her own person. Like, come on now, girl. You got to get that together. Then this girl over here, during the time they talking, Miss TMI over there, Miss over here, I got to get a plan of B's pills. Who else? And then everybody's like, not me. Shit. Not me. And I'm just like, girl, do you have to tell everybody that? Ew, like, baby girl, you hype. Now that you done got some, you doing a little bit too much talking. Like, girl, nobody want to hear all that. She was just doing too much. Like, baby girl, nobody want to hear about all of that. Then Kendra was like, I'm on birth control, and they were like, you don't want to have any children? She's like, maybe in 4 or 5 years. And then Jock had the nerve to talk about, he's so damn stupid, talking about, I'm going to have my Richard Simmons short set on, and I'm going to be in that room, my headband ready to go, I'll be ready. I'm like, man, you already got 9 kids, my man. You need to stop having children now. At this point, Kendra, she know dang well she ain't trying to have no baby with him. She still can't even trust the man. 4 or 5 years is good and everything, but girl, by that time, you know how old he gonna be? Girl, you need to stop having kids by then, because men have problems with their sperm after a certain age. I'm sorry, I don't care if they can still procreate, but a lot of them have sperm issues at a certain age, so they need to, he needs to quit. Got 9 kids, that should be enough. You don't need no more, honey. I don't care if you're married to her or not. No more kids for you, honey. Okay. So then during that time, Shamari's talking about how upset she is with her husband, Mr. Ronnie, over here, because, has to go to another work engagement thing after their Studio 54 dinner. Studio 54 dinner, he has to work, and Shamari's just mad because she said, you say you want time with me, extra quality time, but then you're always working, so when do you think you're going to get that quality time? You always have to work. There's no time that we're finna have together, and you're not gonna get that the long time you're seeking if you always have to work. And basically, Jalen's girl of Fallon over here talking about, oh, if that was me, I couldn't do it. It's just like, girl, bye. She always got something to say. Like, she's trying to get on my nerves in the confession. Always got something to say about people, situations when she was horrible to Jalen. So it's like, you need to work on what you need to do in your relationship and stop worrying about what's going on in their situation, because he's going to make money for them. It's not like he's leaving the retreat to go do stupidity. I guess she feels like he should be putting that as priority, but he's been to majority of everything. So it's just like, give the man a break. Like, he gotta work. He's making bread for you guys. Do you not want to eat? Do you not want to keep your lavish lifestyle? So what's the complaints? Like, she gotta understand it's give and take. He gotta work. He could still work with you after he comes back, but he's making money for the family, because you're not coming out with music. You're not right now touring, which I know you want to do that, but girl, be clear. And like, Fallon, you need to work on how you treat your man while you going around. Just because he gave you some and he talked to Tony, everything got better, you still got things you need to work on. So I'm gonna need to worry about your words. Worry about your words, honey. Next scene, Apollo and Shireen, his wife, they meet with AJ. And basically, they were talking about how they communicate and how there's a lot of confrontation between him and his wife, and how everything, like they go back and forth or whatever. And then AJ was like, why is that? And then she said, we're very opinionated. We both have things to say. But the thing that Shireen said that's very important is that he doesn't listen to what she says, and that he basically pushes back what she says and just doesn't listen to what she says and just be like, whatever, pushes it off. And she doesn't like that. They've been together basically 9 years, and he's been out of prison 3 years. So 5 years of their relationship, he was away. And it's a lot on him. And like I said in my last episodes, their relationship, a lot of it, he was inside jail. So right now, them being married is cute and everything, but y'all weren't together on the outside for majority of your relationship. So only a couple, like 3 years, you've been solid outside. So that's the reason why they're having so much conflict, because they were together when he was inside. And when you're inside, people that are in prison, they act different. I talked to someone in prison before, so I know they write you these cute little letters. They talk to you all sweet and kind. Sometimes they come at you a certain way when they're upset or angry about things that are happening. But I'm saying, if he hasn't processed his feelings when he was away and he's internally keeping it in, that's what the problem is. Part of the reason why he's controlling right now is because when he was in prison, he didn't have any control. So now that he's outside, he's with her, he wants to control everything, because when he was inside, he couldn't control one solitary goddamn thing. So now when he can control something, he wants to control her, so that he knows how things are going to happen, and that's the only way he feels he's going to figure it out or have everything happen the way he wants, because he's going to control how it happens and how it ends. Then she was talking about her 13-year-old daughter and how they basically had to move and uproot their lives and how hard that was on her. And that's definitely hard when you live somewhere else and you have your daughter, and then you have to uproot because you're now with someone and you're moving on their terms and things of that nature. So I understand where she's coming from, but at the same point, he doesn't, I guess he's not seeing it from her side of it, even though it's hard on her. He probably doesn't see it as hard because he went to jail or prison for what he went in jail for. And basically, she says that she wants their relationship to go back how it used to be. They used to be friends, and she needs him to be more vulnerable and to listen. And he's telling her, like, you don't understand how I feel, how prison has affected me. I was in the biggest prison or the biggest jail, 5,000 people. And basically he used to sleep on like a hard, bed. So he mostly sleeps his back to her due to being in there. And AJ was telling him that they have to communicate more, and he has to open up a little bit more about what happened and how he feels about it. How he's felt about being in that situation, which I concur, I agree. So next scene, all the couples meet at the Studio 54. They're all dressed and impressed, looking cute, looking nice. Over here, Fat Boy looks a hot mess in some raggedy t-shirt. She already told you Studio 54 is supposed to be dressed in disco. Where in disco do they have t-shirts on with graffiti writing on it? I see you don't listen. Okay. But then AJ did make a point that they were probably young around that time. Studio 54 was big, so they probably don't know about the disco era and how it is. But the disco area is not really hard to look up on your cell phones. What is Studio 54 it's not a very hard thing. They have their cell phones there. So I'm going to need him to stop acting like he couldn't have looked up what disco is. Disco era was mostly like sparkles in your clothes, afros, rollerblades, real cute clothing. It's really not that hard to do disco. Like that Fat Boy cannot dress. Mr. Tyreek cannot dress. Okay. So they all seated at the table, and this dude right here, Jock, keeps going in and out of sleep. I was like, Jock, you need to take you a nap, my man. You need to go to bed. Are we up past your bedtime, Mr. Jock? This motherfucker right here. And then they start talking, why is he sleeping? Jane like, why is he sleeping? He's like, I'm just anticipating in my energy. Boy, bye. You need your rest. We're just going to talk about he got to be old. That's the only time you keep doing this, when you old. She said, I guess he trying to get as much sleep as he can possible. Okay. So then Shamari and Ronnie were like the last people to sit down, and then AJ noticed. She said, you looking good. You looking like the old Shamari. She said, but I gained weight though. She gained 30 pounds. So she's very, critical of herself. And then Ronnie's like, he likes it. It looks good. And then AJ just feels like there's a reason why she wants to she gained the weight. There's a reason behind it. And I'm like, I agree, but I know why she gained the weight, because she's not working out probably. She's with the kids all the time. Ronnie's out on the road doing tours to get money for their family. She's not working on her music, and she's just stuck with the kids, and she's stuck in a rut because she's upset because she can't do what she wants, and she's with the kids, and she feels like fuck it. Shit. I gotta take care of these kids, forget it. And she's like forgetting herself. That's what most women do when you first have your kids and you have somebody, whether you're with a man or you're not with a man, you're single mom or you're not a single mom, and you got a significant other. A lot of the responsibilities of raising children be on the woman. The man can help, but his help is not the same as the mom. The mom is nurturing the child, she feeding the baby, cleaning him, putting the clothes on the kids, taking them out, doing all this different stuff with the children, and the most of the majority of the responsibility always is on the woman. So that's where it lies with her, and I feel like that's where the weight gain came from, because she not giving a damn and she eating, and she just stressed because she's like stuck in this rut and stuck in a lot of her feelings. So I'm getting it. And then next scene, Breezy and Chris basically won the prize because they said the most supportive, spouse and who would win it. And I knew it was going to be Chris and Breezy. And Doc feels that they are so perfect and it's not fair. He said not to hate on them, but it's just so unfair. She's the best, water preparer, water fixer, upper water. This fool. I couldn't deal with him. So I knew they were going to win because Breezy definitely supports her through and through, supports Chris. And Chris vice versa is really cute. And then next scene, Apollo and Sharina talking. And then they're like in their room. He's taking her shoes off for her, pouring her some wine and drinking while they're talking. And he said, I thought we were going to win. And then Sharina was like, we was not going to win. I already knew it was Chris and whatever. So then when they get into an argument, basically they were talking about he dismisses her feelings, and she said that she feels bad, like she doesn't matter, and he has to try to be, more compassionate and patient because he doesn't show that side of him at all. And she said that he said that he needs more patience from her. But then Sharina is talking about, I gave you enough time, all the time. He was in prison. But my whole thing is he was in prison 5 years of your relationship. That you've been together 9 years. 5 years of that relationship, he was in prison. He's been out only 3 years. That's still not enough time, because when people are in prison, it's a whole nother ball game. I'm just like, girl, you not understanding staying in prison. But I get what she's saying. Like, you were in prison, you had time to work on it, but 3 years is still not enough if you've been in jail for. And he was in jail longer than 5 years, though. He was in jail longer than 5 years. So before he got with you, he was in jail. So he's endured a lot of things in jail. When I'm in the prisons, they go through a whole bunch of stuff dealing with being that he could have went into confinement, and been locked away in there 24 hours a day and stuff, not moving, not leaving except to use the bathroom, take a bath, and then they put food to eat. He could have got into fights with people trying to do things to him. It could be anything. And she hasn't really gotten deep into it. He hasn't opened up to you all the way about what happened when he was in prison. So she has to understand that she's gonna. The patience thing is definitely important, but at the same time, I can understand why she's getting impatient because of the way he's being with her. And then at the same point, it's stressful on her having to deal with the way he is and how he's so controlling. He doesn't listen to her at all, and he kind of negates what she says and dismisses her a lot. So she feels less than because of the way he talks to her, because on a couple episodes ago, he was talking down to her as if he knew best and he was better than her. And that's a problem. You can't talk down to people and treat people a certain way just because you feel you're better. That's not cool. So I'm getting where she's coming from, but then I get where he's coming from. She doesn't understand where he comes from. He doesn't understand her. So they have to come to a consensus to both understand one another. That's my thing. Next scene. AJ's meeting with Shamari, and she's basically just talking about her issues with weight gain, and AJ's getting to the bottom of why she feels the way she feels, and she just basically telling her, I feel lost, I'm not doing, basically she wants to work out and work on her music, but she's not doing it, and basically AJ's like, you need to be accountable, and she said, I feel so lost because I'm not doing the working out or doing my music. So she would basically, and then AJ was asking her, so what if a doctor diagnosed you with this disease or this illness? would you then work on yourselves and fix everything? And then she said she would do something if she had a sickness, but not to prevent it. So AJ's like, that's not a good thing. She said, she basically said, I don't know who I am anymore. And she said, being a mother, a wife is getting in the way of, me being the better me, which is mostly what a lot of women do when they get married and they have children, they have a household run, they forget about themselves, they let themselves go, they stop working out sometimes, they stop eating the way they need to eat to take care of themselves fully, and they stop thinking about themselves, especially when you have children. Like, everything you have is with your kids, and you forget about you, and you don't think about yourself anymore, and you start to forget yourself, especially when you're married. You don't see yourself anymore. You see a total different identity. Like, your identity is just lost. Like, you ain't feeling it. So for me, she needs to work on that. She needs to get back to herself, because that's the only way she's going to be happy, is getting to herself and doing things that she likes. And still, she just has to have a balance and know that she could be a mother and still have her time with her children and with her husband, and give him her time and effort. Next scene, Breezy and Chris. They're heading to their zip lining date. And then basically, Chris was talking about how she felt. They basically did the zip lining, and AJ had a issue while they were zip lining, having a hard time. AJ was scared because, she's afraid of heights as well. And at first she didn't want to do it, but then they all did it together. And they had such a great time. Like Chris said, she felt empowered after. Breezy says that they've been through the craziness of being in the pandemic and being in isolation. And during that time, that's when they started to work through their issues that they had. And that they were ignoring each other, and it became a lot, basically. So I was like, oh, okay. But that makes sense, because now that they're in this, it just seems like they don't have issues. But a couple of issues have came up. The fact that Chris doesn't know how to be by herself without Breezy, and she doesn't know how to talk on her own. It's like she's always waiting for Breezy to speak for her instead of her speaking up for herself, which is a problem. That's codependency right there. She's codependent on her, and she feels like she needs her to be herself and to be happy, and that her voice isn't heard. But your voice is heard, and your voice is, people like being around you more because you're being you. So you have to be yourself. So I'm happy that now we're getting to see it. So they do still have some issues. It may not be issues in their relationship, but the way that she conveys herself and how she presents herself to people is now like she's lost within their relationship. It's like it doesn't seem like she can be on her own anymore because she's so codependent. Next scene, Shamari and Tony are hosting the event for the couples. They're doing an activity called Dive In. So the couples are basically learning how to basically argue. And they're basically going to switch roles. So basically, if they had an argument, maybe from a couple episodes, they're going to bring it up. And then instead of Tian being Tian, she's going to interact Fat Boy's, how Fat Boy would act and how he would talk in that situation, and he would basically be her. So that's the first people that went, Fat Boy and Tiana. And it was so funny because Fat Boy's ass was swaying his hips and doing this with his hands, and oh no, look, let me see your phone. Who's this? I said, I'm done with him. He's stupid as hell. He was swaying his hip and he was being so extra. I was like, yo, Fat Boy, go sit down somewhere. Have several. And it's just like I can't stand looking at him because he's just not, oh my God. But he is so funny. Like, I could see how she could like him because he is so embarrassing. He embarrasses himself a lot. He is funny. He's got that funny side to him. The way he was swaying his hips and holding his hand and stuff, acting like no, take the phone, and gave her the phone. Then he was like, you stupid. Tiana was like, you stupid, you dumb, you stupid. Give me that, you stupid. I said, I'm dead. They stupid as hell. I can't. There was comedic relief. It was funny. It was very funny. It's hilarious. And they basically both were saying that. Basically, he was saying that he needs to be more considerate of her feelings and understanding of how she feels when things like that happen, like with the DMs. Next couple was Apollo and Shireen with the hypnotherapy situation. So basically, Shireen was telling him, close your eyes. So he closed his eyes and she kept tapping him. Tap. You good? You awake? You awake? I said, I'm dead. And then like after like he was like, yeah, I'm here, blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm done. Like Apollo could not do Shireen's mannerism or anything. It was like when they were in that situation, he was too busy trying to control her, so he couldn't even participate. It was so damn funny, and I was like, uh-oh. All right, so everybody was like, oh, he don't listen, and then listen to her at all. And he was like, so Tony was asking her if he continues with the controlling thing and not listening to you, how long can you stay? And she's not very long. He said, yeah, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. He said, I can control the situation so good that she ain't finna go nowhere. I said, ooh, Apollo. Oh, hell the fuck no. He is out of pocket, out of line. I couldn't do it. Shireen, you better not break, because you ain't finna embarrass me in person with people talking about, oh, I control you. I control your every move. You finna not go nowhere. What about what kind of shit is this? I said, ooh. And then Fallon gonna talk about, oh, I would be flying away, Fallon. That's the same way you do your man. Jalen done said on 3 episodes already that you control him just like Apollo controls Shireen. So I'm gonna need you to clean and close your mouth, because it's always people always know exactly what other people need to do, but for their own situation don't know what they need to be doing and how to treat their significant other. It's so funny. It's so easy for you to open your mouth and tell them what they need to do in confessionals, but what do you need to do to treat your man a whole lot better? Because he has a lot of complaints about you, how you talk down to him and won't let him be a man, and telling him he ain't going nowhere. You control everything. He ain't going this way. He ain't doing that, like you his mama or something. So baby girl, I'm gonna need you to stop talking. Like worry about yours, honey. Worry about your situation. Just because he gave you the D yesterday don't mean he's gonna keep giving you the D. Because it seems like he wishy-washy, honey. Okay. What y'all think, subscribers, about the episode Couples Retreat? This is episode 6. And this is how I feel about the episode. Next episode, they basically have like a comedy special that they're going to. And it seems like Tony Rock is going to be basically talking-ish and making these jokes about Fallon. And Fallon ain't going to be able to take it because he calling her Stella. Talking about she trying to get her groove back with Jalen. That, she basically is... using him or something like that. And she can't handle it. She started crying. And it's just like, girl, I don't know why you crying. It's just a joke, honey. I don't know what you're crying about. Like, you are older than him. And it seems like he tried to go really young. Well, she didn't go that young. It's not like she's like 50-something. Like, in the movie, Stella was like a little bit older than you. Like, you're only in your 30s. It was just a joke. Like, girl, bye. I don't know why she was all in her feelings. But I digress. What do y'all think about the episode? Comment below. Tap the notification bell. Like, comment, subscribe. And this is Goddess Galaxy. And I enjoyed this episode. This episode's all right this week. Just let me know what you think about it. Talk to you later, YouTube.